Welcome back to the podcast. It has been so long. I hope everyone is doing good. We are back with another episode.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, everybody.
I
It's
hope
good to
everyone. Oh, go
it's
ahead.
good to be back.
Yes, it is good to be back. We have more things to talk about, more things to do. I hope everyone is doing okay. Today, we're going to talk about something very specific that I read about, and I thought it was a pretty big deal. It has to do with AI companies that are buying books in bulk, and some of them are rare books, and they are scanning them and destroying them because legally that's how they are allowed to scan them. And people, including me, are equating this to Fahrenheit 451, the book burning. And I personally am also equating this to 1984, which is the memory hole method, where so context. AI companies, Anthropic, ChatGPT, Google, whoever, they're all buying books in bulk, hundreds, thousands of them at a time. They are bringing them to a facility and they are cutting the spine off the book and then just scanning the pages and harvesting that data to train their AI.
You
And
know, who are they buying the books from?
online, just Amazon, bookstores, doesn't matter. It's just a system that they're buying books in bulk. Um, so it's not, there's no like cabal of booksellers. They're just buying because, like I could buy a book online. So they're just buying whatever is available. And they're buying bulk packages as well, which sometimes includes old, rare books. And they're also just outwardly buying rare books so that they can scan them. And now, mind you, there is a non-destructive way to scan books. There's non-destructive ways to do it. But from what I read recently, apparently, legally, if it is a book, let's say there's only one copy left of it, you are only allowed to have a scan of it if the book is destroyed. Meaning to preserve the book, you are allowed to have the scan. But that like the law essentially incentivizes destroying books. I'd have to double check that law, but apparently that's the general understanding of it is if the book is destroyed or near the end of its life, scanning it to preserve its content is fair and legal, even if the work is copyrighted or whatever. And so what's happening is they're destroying the books and therefore allowing themselves to have the copy of it because the book is now destroyed. Um, so I am equating this to the book burning, obviously, Fahrenheit 451,
Yep.
but I would take it a step further and say that this also has to do with the potential dangers of these AI companies grabbing up all these books, destroying them, and banking all of that data, and then paying for access to it. And now, once they've embedded themselves into the school system and to public service systems to a certain degree, where they now control the flow of information, they can start withholding information, cutting certain pages out of textbooks, changing history, changing science, changing religion, because you only have access to it through their system, their digital copies.
But why is the government permitting them to have an autonomy like this?
Because our current administration is directly profiting from these companies. That's why he does not care about the American people. He made what was it, 4 billion or 2 billion last year off the backs of American people.
You
It's
know, it's
it,
funny. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Here where they're trying to take old movies and make them visible again so that we don't lose the content, even though, they may be talkies and outdated, but we're trying to save history. Here, our government is allowing history to be destroyed. And
Yeah.
again, it reminds me, I'll take it further from what you said. Uh, it reminds me when the Nazis were burning books.
Yes. Yes.
And that really scares me because I could see AI uh, trying to do what we're doing with old films, trying to save save the books,
Yeah,
like you said.
archive them. Yeah, there's a difference between archiving and giving it to the public for free in an archived database and what these AI companies are doing, which is scanning the books, using that data to train their AI systems to be better, and then walling off that information, not giving it to the public for free.
You got to have checks and balances. I mean, a lot of people are afraid of AI. A lot of people swear by it, but once AI, like you had mentioned, gets control of all the content that they've scammed. Yeah, scammed.
Yep.
Instead of scammed.
Uh-huh.
Uh, we're in trouble because why should we have to buy content that was there for free if they
Right.
decide to sell it?
That or why are we, if I bought the book, why do I have to now pay for access to that same information? And again, these are private entities, private organizations. They are not government affiliates. They may have government contracts. Anthropic and ChatGPT have government contracts because they're working with the military to implement AI into their drones and robots for war, but they're still a private company. They are not bound by the rules of the federal government, and therefore they don't have to provide anything. They don't have to provide a service or anything to the general public. So why would I ever trust the flow of information, whether creative or scientific or just general information, to a private for-profit organization that
Yeah,
has historically not been good and not sided with anyone good?
yeah. And what bothers me also, uh, I know we have to have advances in life.
Yeah.
One of the things, I'm 82, so when I was a teenager, we used encyclopedias. It was important for me to go to the library to do a report,
Hmm.
to utilize the books in the library. And today, kids have to do a report, whether it's younger children, people in college or graduate school. They can get all the information online. And now, if AI controls the information, we have a major problem there
Right.
because because they're becoming a country within a country,
Yeah.
uh, and
Well,
that's scary.
and the information is already going sour, right? AI is historically known for what they call hallucinations, right? You ask it a question, you could say, what day is it today? And even though it has direct access to the internet and could tell you technically what the day is, it tells you it's March 3rd, 1975, right? Like it can get clear, obvious information incorrect, and it'll tell you it like it is fact. And
Yeah, yeah,
so,
they edit the way they want to edit.
well, that's not even anyone editing. That's just the system getting it wrong. That's the AI. That's not intentional. That is it getting it wrong. So my point is if it's currently consistently getting basic, obvious information incorrect, what is it going to do when people have to rely on it? And there's people intentionally feeding it misinformation. So it becomes a very, very dangerous situation. And I think it's also important to distinguish, right? AI is sort of a very broad term for what these systems are called. They're really called large language models. It's not true like Terminator self-aware AI, but we call it AI because that's sort of the catch-all phrase everyone's used. There's a variety of different AIs that are used in different sectors, in the health industry, in the science industry, in the administrative industry, right? There's tons of different ones that do different things. The one that I personally have the problem with is generative AI, which is the chat GPT where you can chat with it and talk with it, and the image and video ones that create very realistic lifelike videos and images that can be passed off as something real. All of those are my biggest problems. The AI that's being used in drug discovery to help figure out how to cure different diseases and find different cure and medications is fantastic. The AI that's being used to help scan X-rays to find tumors and cancers, fantastic. The ones that are in the weather systems, the traffic systems, the ones that are all within the STEM field, I think are fantastic, and I'm happy that those are advancing. But
But we're not talking about that. We're talking
right,
about,
but I wanted to distinguish the difference because
yeah,
I think it's important because a lot of people, at least online, are just aggressively 100% anti-AI because they don't actually understand that there's different types out there. The
yeah,
generative AI is the one that we're talking about, which is the chatting, the videos, and the images. And it's very, very dangerous, especially the image ones, right? Images and videos used to be our last bastion of proof, of evidence. You
mhm,
know, I went to the Grand Canyon. You got a picture of it. Yeah, there I am. Now I can generate a picture of me at the Grand Canyon that looks near lifelike or near perfect. It's ridiculous. Now imagine they do that with historical images. They re generate history and they change how the history occurred because now they can generate historical images and videos.
yeah. Like you said, there are different divisions of AI. Down here, we're in Florida. Uh, we have information centers.
Oh, the data centers. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's becoming a very big political debate because these private centers want to open up in the different areas. And when they open up, it's going to raise the cost of utilities.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, it does much more than that.
you know,
It does much more than that. It raises the cost of utilities. It causes health problems for everyone who lives near it because it gives off what's called infrasound,
yes.
INFRA sound, and that causes health problems for people. And this one ruined me. When I learned about this. Heat islands. It creates a bubble of heat
Heat, yeah,
upwards of 16 degrees
yeah.
within like I think it's like a 6 mile radius of that data center. It is literally creating a microclimate. It is changing the weather because of how hot, how much crap it is pushing out into the atmosphere.
And they're not trying to necessarily put it in areas that aren't near where people live. They're putting it where it's convenient for them, and where the people live, they're going to be affected by this heat. They're
Yeah.
going to be affected by the increased use of water and
Yeah,
uh,
that too. Yeah, it's taken people's water and it doesn't have to either. I want you to know there are ways to build data centers that have what's called closed loop water systems, but they don't do those often because it's expensive and takes time. The quick and fast and dirty way is to just build it and they just keep pumping fresh water into it. And
yeah,
it takes water from local communities and it creates the problems that we have now. It is crazy.
I know. The cost of living has gone up so high in regard to utilities like electricity and
Hmm.
water and other things. I know for me, it's doubled.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what it can do, but right now, people who are running for governor and the local elections are using this as a key for their discussion as to what they will do if they're voted into office. And
Yeah.
it's going to save us money, they say. And you know what? It probably will. But do they have the political clout to overturn all this money that these private industries are going to be paying the local governments? You
Yeah,
see?
right. And that is exactly the problem. They are And if they're not paying the city council members to install these data centers, the city council members have some type of direct benefit or stake in them. I did a video on that a couple weeks ago where multiple city councils didn't get paid under the table, but they directly profited. They had stocks or shares or something where they once it was built, they made a boatload of money. And also, anyone anyone who tries to tell you these data centers will create jobs and make more money for the local area is lying or has no idea what they're talking about. Has no idea what they're talking about. They do not create jobs. I can promise you that. The construction jobs that are there for the short amount of time it takes to build that data center, that's
Temp-
about all the jobs it creates.
yeah,
The
the
amount
temp-
of people that are needed to maintain each data center is a handful of people at most. It does not create jobs. It does not create an economy that a flow back to the local economy. Does nothing but hurt and harm local communities.
So how far are these AI private companies into actually destroying books? Um,
So I believe it was the Washington Post that wrote an article about it in January. Yeah, it was in January. The Washington Post wrote an article about their plan to scan and dispose of millions of books. Articles were written, whatever, a couple weeks ago, which is this is August 5th of 2026. Um, as of a couple weeks or a week or so before this, articles have been coming out talking about their destruction of the books. So somewhere between January and now, they have been destroying these books. And, you know, it's concerning. Even it doesn't matter what kind of books it is. It could be The Wizard of Oz, where it's reprinted, 5 million times. Doesn't matter. It's the fact that they are allowed to do this, that they are allowed to destroy these books for the sake of training their systems. They are stealing work and training on it so that they can produce garbage through their generative AI and potentially destroying one of ones, one of tens, one of 50s, rare books to scan so that they can have it in their database for training and paywalling purposes, and then disposing of the books.
yeah, we've had the problem with local state organizations trying to control the books that go into schools. But what scares me is I don't want to hear, well, I probably won't be around. I mean, with my age, I probably won't be around, but I don't want to hear what's a book? People saying, what's a book?
Yeah, I don't, I maybe so. I don't know if we will. I don't know if books will disappear that quickly. I think maybe in not the next generation, but like
What-
I don't know. I don't think books are going to go that crazy that quick.
No, I'm not talking about them just disappearing like that.
Oh, but you're
But
just saying kids who are going to be born so removed that they won't even know what a book is.
yeah, they'll be doing everything online. I mean,
Yeah.
I like to read a book. I
Yeah.
like to physically hold the book.
And I think it's
Well,
healthier to do so.
yeah, and most people that I know that are younger than me will use, their
Oh,
computer,
Kindle.
Kindle, or
I
whatever.
can't look, if that's what you want to do, go ahead. I personally I can't stand a Kindle. I know it's lighter, it's cheaper, or it's not cheaper, but it's lighter and it looks like paper. I don't care. A physical book to me is just unbeatable. There's about turning the page and carrying the book, and if it's something you're reading over a long period of time, it gets weathered along with you. It ages with you. There's something beautiful about reading a physical book that I like you just won't be able to convince me that a Kindle is enjoyable.
Yeah, I just wonder, uh, you open the topic as to what is happening,
Yeah.
but when will we actually get true information as to how it's progressed and what is happening.
So I think the same way that we get all of our information right now, at least in this current administration, which is we're going to hear about it in the middle or at the end of it. We're not going to hear when it's starting, or if we do hear about when it's starting, we're not really, no one's, it's not going to be, it's not going to reach enough ears for anyone to do anything about it. It's not a problem until it's a problem, right? That's sort of the big arcing theme within this country is it's not a problem until it's a problem. Trump wasn't a problem for a lot of voters until everyone's electric bills and water bills and went up and tariffs hit everyone and our groceries doubled in price and our dollar is down like 25% and you know a bunch of crap that everyone said was going to happen, but not enough people had the forethought to respect and understand. So now that it's a problem, people are turning on Trump. Now that it's a problem, people are turning on data centers, even though Trump made an executive order last year specifically called accelerating data center infrastructure. So it like that's where we're at. This country is very individualistic and people are not preemptive and people are not really caring about their communities, whether local, or national. And so unless it starts harming their house and their family, they don't really care because everyone's exhausted. Everyone's working. Everyone's got to take care of themselves. Why do I have to take care of that kid down the road?
Yeah, and when you're voting now, you aren't voting for the best candidate. You're voting for the candidate that lies the least.
Right. Well, and that is why, and we don't have to get super into this, but that is why there's a rising support for a lot of what's called democratic socialists because they are making promises that are not the run-of-the-mill established Democrat or right-wing Republican. And shown through Mamdani in New York, uh, people are looking at New York and looking at Mamdani and also looking at oh God, what's his name? I think is it in Boston? I'm gonna butcher that. I don't think it's in Boston. There's someone else somewhere west um that that was also a democratic socialist and he brought lowered crime to the lowest it's been in like 30 years in a very high crime city. I don't remember what city it was. Um, but he became the mayor and democratic socialist and he lowered the crime similar to Mamdani. But I think people are looking at Mamdani, people are looking at the other ones winning and they're going, I hate Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries because they just do they're the ratchet effect, right? The Democrats prevent anyone from moving left while the Republicans pull right. So they're two wings, same bird. Democratic socialists are actively calling out all of these people. And so people are feeling compelled to vote for them because they say, well, tried Trump, tried traditional Republican, tried Democrats traditional. Let's try this one. So there seems to
Maybe,
be
maybe.
a surge of those guys winning in a lot of states, even if it's not hard red states. I mean, we're even seeing in red states, right? I believe Texas and hell, I don't remember. Texas and another state, um, their Republican support is dampening, surprisingly. That historically were easy wins seems to not be so easy.
So getting back to the problem at hand, when is this going to be a situation with the burning of books where it's going to become an extreme problem? Right now, it's starting to be a problem, but how do we prevent it from being an extreme problem?
Well, I think part of that has to do with participating in your local communities, buying physical books, not like, if you like to read, buying physical books, build your own library. You are legally categorized as a library if you have at least 1,000 books. So build your own library, archive, participate, play, start a book club in your local community where you guys collect books and you share them and spread them around and build your own libraries. You know what I mean? Participate with everyone around you.
Well,
And
it's a good idea, but it's not going to work.
the
And it's
well, I'm saying that's for the
yeah,
common man, right?
yeah,
Obviously, there's the politicians you should be voting for that are anti data AI data center, anti Anthropic AI, right? Vote for those guys. Push those guys to your city council, to your mayor, to your state representatives, all of them, and push for them to make laws to dampen and slow this process. Um, because we currently live in a time with an administration that the companies are following the Trump administration's methods, which is just do it, even if it's illegal, just do it until the federal court jumps in and says, we need to stop you, which is months after because the process is so slow. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Once the courts put a pause on it, appeal it. And because you're the president and you have a lot of strings to pull, a lot one in every two times you'll win and it gets released and you keep going. And the two in one times it doesn't, you stop, you find a new loophole and you go around that way. And that's
I,
that's the current crooked method.
yeah, I don't think that anything major is going to be done until 2027 when this president becomes a third year president and becomes a lame duck.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't think I think it'll be after the midterms at minimum, right? I think after the midterms at minimum, we'll start to see some movement, start to see some shift, because that's also an important thing for everyone to remember. Part of the reason why so many people like, well, why aren't the Democrats doing anything? They don't have any power. They have nothing. They don't have the House. They don't have the Senate. They don't have the courts. They have nothing. So
they're
at
not
the
organized. They're not organized.
they're not organized 100%, but they also don't have the votes physically. Like they can sling as many bills as they want, but if the Republicans are unified, does nothing, right? And some of the Democrats are unified with the Republicans, like Fetterman. So it nothing. But at the
Yes.
minimum, after the midterms, which is leads, by the time everyone takes office, it'll be 2027, right? Um, so 2027, I agree. And then hopefully, the next president, assuming the country doesn't implode and we end up in whatever, uh, hopefully the next president, who's not Kamala Harris, is someone who actually can lead the sort of left-leaning democratic-ish, hopefully a democratic socialist push will put actual progress towards this country and not more wars, more data centers, and more action pretends to be Democrat and actually is just a centrist slash like minor right wing.
Yeah, and you know what the problem is with our country constantly printing money. We're at $40 trillion in debt,
Mm.
and all they do is print more money. Uh, I think they said that $1.8 trillion is the interest we're paying on our debt. So as long as our country is becoming a problem financially, because we are a problem, we're at the road where we really have a false economy. A lot of these private AIs are going to be able, with their money, to supplement taxes in the communities.
Well, no, they don't even have money. I don't know if I that's a separate conversation for a separate time. None of them have money. They've been in a circular economy buying each other's debt for the past 8 months.
Oh, okay.
That's been a huge thing. Nvidia, the chip maker, just bought ChatGPT's debt for $250 million.
That's
They
not,
they they ChatGPT, Nvidia, Microsoft, and one other one. I think Palantir sort of looms in the background. They have been for at least the past 8 months, but for the past 2 years specifically, quite literally have just been passing the debt, bang, dang, 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 in a circle. And that's why so many people say the AI is a bubble, like the housing market or the dot-com boom, because AI is not profitable. AI has yet to be profitable for just about any company. No money is actually coming in. No one's turning that money into profit.
I didn't know that. Thanks
Yeah.
for informing
Oh
me. Yeah.
yeah. That's a huge conversation online and in the sort of tech sphere. It's openly recognized that we are in a bubble. And this bubble is so big, it's someone calculates like 10 times the size of the dot-com bubble, and 4 times the size of the housing market bubble, which means that if this were to go all in one shot, it would completely demolish our system entirely. And so people are already saying it's collapsing, the air is coming out, but it's a sort of drawn out version of it. But nonetheless, it is a bubble. Companies are
Okay.
not making money right now, so they're not able to uphold this economy at all because they don't have money.
So let's say with what's the problem that's occurring now with the scanning and the destroying of books, we'll have to end the conversation at this point unless you have something more to say, and then review it at a certain near time in the future, not waiting too long,
Yeah,
because then it'll become an extreme problem.
right.
So I'm going to put that ball in your court. You'll follow it and you'll determine when it's time to come back and to talk about it again.
Yeah, we can definitely do that because I'm sure there will be developments between now and even in the next 6 months, but like, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so with that in mind, that's good to be back.
Yeah.
Uh, and thanks for some of the information you gave me that I was unaware of.
Yeah, no problem. Uh, we will see you in the next one. Happy that everyone for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for coming back. If you came back, if you're new, welcome. Thank you for hanging out. And we will see you in the next one. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yes, be well, everyone.
Be well. Peace out.
Peace out.